So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today we're going to be talking about a college teacher that was using a word that they shouldn't be using and how, firing someone for using that word isn't discrimination according to the Eighth Circuit Court. This article is from Jacqueline Longfellow. She's who wrote it. She's from the law firm Baker Sturchy, Cowden and Rice. You can take a look down below and read the article for yourself if you like. They have a lot of great articles, and I like to use them to comment on videos. So here's the backstory. Here's how it started. A college instructor saw a student using their cell phone during a quiz, confiscated it, and then exited the class. Then when she returned, she used the R word for anyone to think that using a cell phone during a quiz was acceptable. I don't condone the use of the word, but it's an awful idea to think that you're going to be able to use a cell phone during a quiz. That's a little wild, a little crazy. So he told the person with the cell phone told the girlfriend, who then confronted his girlfriend confronted the teacher and swore at him. And then weirdly enough, the student was attacked by the instructor's nephew just shortly thereafter, and that nephew lives with the instructor, which is odd. I'm curious if this is sort of I'm curious if this is like an adjunct or something like that, because I don't expect many of my teachers to be living with their nephews. I guess that's possible. So the college looked into it and terminated the instructor's employment as a result of a violation of the anti-harassment policy, because it was a disability-related slur. And then apparently the teacher also tried to coach witnesses through the investigation and also omitted the lies, right? So omitted material facts of the case, which could be terminable in and of itself. And so as a result, the employee terminated. Trying to sway witnesses from an HR perspective could be worse than the word itself. I don't like any of these, to be totally honest. So then the teacher challenged the lawsuit, challenged the termination on a couple different grounds, including discrimination, unequal pay, and hostile work environment. And so we'll talk about what they kind of tried to do. It's a little bit interesting of how the instructor attempted to kind of couch this. One of the ways is that others were treated better. That's really hard to do. The Eighth Circuit Court said, well, you have to find a man who did effectively the same thing and wasn't terminated. Well, she found a man who said the term asses, presumably towards their students, but that's not quite the same level, right? And it doesn't rise to specifically a Title VII charge, which is ultimately what she did, right? So she violated sort of the equal protections and discrimination cases, discrimination laws. And as a result, that's part of the reason why she was fired. Asses doesn't rise to that level. It has no specific meaning against a specific area. And so it's a really bad argument for the teacher to make. And, unfortunately, these are the people that are teaching your students, right? These are the people that are teaching your kids to make such a poor decision and make such a poor argument. Finally, they said that, well, she made the argument that she was fired as a result of her gender. and that effectively the school only fired or only looked into her because of her gender, and that they didn't really do a good investigation, and the termination was a pretext for her gender. That can be successful, but it also failed. There was no evidence of it. This was a really public situation. They were not trying to contrive anything, it appears. And as a result, the Eighth Circuit overturned it, and said, obviously you cannot use the R word in the classroom, and rejected her claim of discrimination. And so that's a very interesting thing. Some of what I bring up, these court cases, these are true things that HR people go through, right? An HR person undoubtedly took the stand during this and was forced to do a deposition as a result of this case. And, it's very cut and dry. It's very obvious. It's often very frustrating, but then you wonder why HR has to be so legalistic, why businesses have to be so legalistic and not allow exceptions. And these are the cases why. This is what happens. Let me know in a comment down below what you think about this case and where you stand. It's an interesting challenge, but unfortunately, it's a very real situation that many HR people are presented with on a daily basis.